So welcome everyone. My name is Daniel Stasiuk. I'm an osteopath at Cleveland Clinic, and I've been running the Run Smart program for the last 5 years, offering sort of a running gait analysis. Today I'm going to be talking about warm-up, cool-down and stretching for runners. So a lot of you might find that sort of warm up and cool down, you don't really have the time because it's with your busy schedule, you might find things hard to get that extra little bit of time to do warm up, but it's actually really important to. You might find the first 10-15 minutes of your run might feel a bit sluggish. This is maybe another reason why it is important for the warm up, because it gets the blood flowing and the body loosened up. It helps us to prevent injuries and reduce post-run soreness and improves performance. It is important while running to target the areas of the body and the movement patterns that we use when we run. So this goes on to our next slide, which is our dynamic stretching. Within the past 10 years, there has been a shift more from this static stretching towards dynamic stretching. Traditionally, static stretching involves moving a joint as far as it can go and holding it for a length of time, typically anywhere from 30 to 60 seconds. But however, dynamic stretching is more of this movement-based stretching and is more suitable. It can be suitable for sports such as explosive movements with soccer, running, basketball, tennis, and dynamic stretching focus on actively moving the joints and muscles with sport-specific motions, targeting necessary muscle groups to increase power, flexibility, and range of motion for enhanced performance. So getting on to the benefits of dynamic stretching, there's an increase of body heat and blood flow, which loosens the muscles and tendons. This improves overall power and strength. Static stretching actually cools necessary muscle groups, and so it does not actually reduce the risk of injury, and it can even sometimes weaken the muscles as well. So dynamic stretching prepares us by practicing the movements that will be required of them. This means the muscles are well engaged and ready for a quick sport-specific response. It improves the flexibility needed for the running by increasing the range of motion around the joints. Over time, this will maximize performance and reduce the risk of injury. While static stretching puts the body in a relaxed state, dynamic stretching offers mental preparation by putting the athlete's body and mind into motion so they are ready for the run ahead. Not to say that static stretching is a bad thing, it's definitely a good thing, but more for the warm-up portion of things. I want to get more into kind of movement-based warm-ups, where it's going to get you ready for your run ahead. And I'm going to actually include static stretching more in the cool down, where we can actually work with cooling the muscles down, put on a nice stretch as well, and work with the flexibility and allow it to help the recovery as well from there. So we're going to get into a sample routine here for the warm up. So start off with a nice easy walk or jog for about 5 minutes. Followed by some dynamic stretching and some running drills. So I've got a little video ahead here, which I'm going to play.
First one we're going to go through.
So working with basic movements. So a leg squeeze, bring the knee nice and high, squeeze it high, going up your toes there as well. Now these are just samples, so you can do it a little bit longer. I'm doing it maybe for about 5 reps for each leg.
Do each leg about 5 times, and then we'll go into just, it's more like a quad stretch this one, but we're still going to be moving through the range. Again, holding each leg for a second or two.
And also kind of working with that stability as well on one leg with nice slow movements.
Here we're going to grab that leg.
So working with some hip range of motion and a little bit of a glute stretch with this one. So this is called tabletop. And still working with that hip range motion, we're going to work with some kind of internal and external rotation of the hips. This is called hip closers, and then we're going to go into the hip openers as well.
really just trying to improve that flexibility of hips, because that's a really important part for runners. Your hips, you want to cover the condition as well as you can. So from here, I'm just going to go the other direction. I'm going to do some scoops, the leg forward.
Scoops, working on that hamstring and posterior chain of the leg, stretch out.
And going in some lunges from here.
Into the walking lunges.
Long steps.
Loading up through the legs, knees and hips.
From here, we're going to go into
so this is just some running drills,
really
so called high knees.
Fast and high.
Really kind of practicing a proper form for running. So with these ones, we can do about a length of about 20 meters of the drill and then 20 meters jog as well.
Really whipping those knees.
Now you repeat about 5 times. This is bump kicks, really kind of whipping the heels to the bottom there.
And jogging back. It's important with this one that we don't just bring our heels to our bottom, that our knees are ahead of our body. It's more like that true running form. Then from here, we're going to go into your leg swings.
So this is your traditional dynamic stretching. We're going to go to some leg swings. So that first of all, just front and back. Do about 10 repetitions here on each leg. And then just a sideways movement as well.
10 swings. And this one's just straight to the side as well.
So so just to recap for that, was that leg squeeze, so bring the knee up to the chest, the ankle grabs, the tabletop, the hip openers and closes, the scoops, walking lunges, high knees, bum kicks, leg swings, the front and back and sideways. And so getting into cool down, again, a nice kind of easy jog or walk for about maybe 5 minutes, followed by some static stretching, which will be in the next video. And then if you have time later on when you get home, if you have a foam roller, it's a really good tool to use to roll out through the legs. So you might find your IT band or your quads can be a good thing to loosen out. It's not something you can have to use every time, but it's definitely a good tool to have.
So we've just done a good quality run. So now with cool down, we just want to make sure do more static stretching, just a nice prolonged stretch. Each stretch will last about 30 seconds. The first one I'm going to do for after we come from run is just go down into a squat position. Use those arms to push to the side. Just stretching out through the groin. If you're having trouble holding a position in this, if you feel like it's your ankles, knees or hips causing you trouble, you can always hold it to a post or tree. From here, I'm going to stretch out through your...
So each stretch, again, you could hold for about 30 to 60 seconds, again, whatever you feel comfortable.
It's tricky, you can hold on to a post. What am I going to do? Calf stretch.
So you could also do this off a step as well if you want to stretch out a little bit more, but use whatever you have available. So sometimes
that heel drop down.
A tree can be a good thing to use.
Usually it's easier and straight after runs you'll find a tree and just kind of stretch up against it. It's an easy thing to do. From there we're going to go into your hip flexor stretch. Just down on one knee. A little bit comes through. Hold that now, bring that arm up. Reach up towards the sky. Really get through the front of the hip and all the way up through the hip flexor. From here, we're going to bring that leg across the body. Down.
So pigeon pose is really kind of stretching out through your glutes. If you're having difficulty with this one for whatever reason, if it's like a hip mobility issues, there are other glute stretches you can do. This is just a sample one.
Now from here into child's pose.
And child's pose is kind of stretching out through the lower back and the rest of the back. Just help things open up a little bit.
The last one we're going to kind of do is just stretch out through your hamstrings. Just going to do one at a time. Just reaching towards your foot there.
And the hamstring stretch, the last one. Good. So just to recap for that, so there's the squat stretch, really stretching out the groin, the quad stretch, the calf stretch up against the tree, the hip flexor stretch, pigeon pose, stretching out the glutes, child's pose, just kind of stretching out through the lower back a little bit, and the hamstring stretch. So all of these stretches shouldn't take too long, and with the warm-up as well, it should only take a few minutes for each one. So really quick and efficient, but important as well. So just a few key points. Take those extra few minutes of warm-up and cool down as it will pay off in the long term. Injury prevention is key. So just to go through your homework for this week. So for the Learn to Run group, there'll be 2 minutes of running, 1 minute walking. This will be 10 repeats, 30 minutes total. 3 to 4 times run for the week, with at least a day in between runs. The 10K group will do all steady runs, three runs for the week, 4K run, 5K run, and a 6K run, totaling 15Ks for the week. And the half marathon group will do 4 runs, all steady runs, a 6K, 8K, 4K, and 12K. And it's important with this type of order that the longer runs are kind of broken up, kind of halfway in between. You can see the 8 and the 12 are kind of halfway between the 6 and the 4, and that's totaling 30Ks for the week. Okay, thank you. Any questions? I'll take questions now if anyone has anything. I'm just going to look at this chat here.
Hello.
Hello?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. I have a question. I missed the first session where you talked about apparel and shoes.
Yes.
So if you can, I mean, is there a specific sort of apparel or shoes that I'm looking at? Because I've started running recently, and I'm doing like roughly 4 kilometers in 20 minutes. So to avoid injury, is there any specific sort of shoe that I should be looking at, or any apparel?
I guess it's so you missed that video for it?
Yes, I missed that.
There is a video that you can actually watch the videos online if you do 1 or 2 of the presentation, and it's probably a question more for Megan, who did that presentation.
Oh, okay.
If that makes sense, but it's probably best to access that video. Just trying to, someone can send that across to you if that works for you in terms of that.
That would work. That would be really great.
And we can share. Yeah, we'll share those videos.
That would be great.
Okay.
Perfect.
And so I also had another question: is should I roll before running? Rolling you can definitely roll before running. It can help kind of open up things as well. These are just a sample kind of warm-ups, so rolling can definitely be beneficial, and the same as after running as well. So you mentioned using a stair to do this calf stretch. Would you be a little more specific on how you do that? I'm dealing with some very sore calves and would like to prevent it for next run. So with off the step, basically just dropping your heel right down off the step. You can either do it with a straight or target 2 different kind of muscle groups. You can always do both to really kind of work out through those calves. If you find the calves are still very sore, you might find sometimes rolling in and out can be beneficial. The other thing is just watch out how much running load you are doing if you are finding that is becoming an issue. Otherwise, the other thing to look at would be the shoes. So I'm just going through a few more. Can you suggest any stretches for sciatica? So that pigeon pose is quite a good one for sciatica. You might even find for the warm up as well, that so they're working with those hips stretches, so the tabletop, the hip openers, closers, and including the scoops to really stretch out that posterior chain can be a good idea as well. Okay, so please explain foaming. So foam roller, let's just see, just a second there. I'll be right back in a second. I'll grab the roller in a second if anyone wants to see what it looks like. But yeah, you can use other things as well, like the cross balls, or sometimes there's the sticks as well, which can be beneficial. And what is the best foam roller? Is the one with flat or ridges? Again, it's personal preference. I usually suggest, if you're not used to a roller, maybe a little bit of forgiveness in the foam, but I usually suggest that the firmer ones are better. It doesn't matter too much with the ridges unless you really want to get into certain spots, but as long as you find it does the job. If you find it doesn't work, then maybe something a little bit firmer, even maybe a few bumps on it can be helpful as well. Any other questions at the moment? Hey, Lauren, can you grab a foam roller? So basic foam roller looks like this. So this is just your basic foam. It's nice and dense. And you can get the short ones or long ones as well. But anything like this can be worthwhile as well. Should you be stretching or warming up the upper body? Again, I think in terms of, if you find you generally have mobility issues with your upper body, it can definitely be worthwhile. I mean, the warm up in terms of the light jog will help things warm up as well. Thanks. Will help as well. Sorry, there looks. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Do you have any stretches or solve to side stitches while running? Stretch. So you might find ones where you're just working with just some lateral movements as well. So you really kind of work through opening things up. You might even find that hip flexor stretch can be a good one as well. But again, a lot of these can be tailored to everyone's needs. Again, this is just a basic type of layout of how you can get things warmed up. And again, it's sports specific, so it's for running. So the question up there before was with the upper body. We're really mostly just trying to warm up the legs, but you can definitely kind of get the arms moving as well. Any other questions there? Sorry, this is another roller as well. I find that sometimes jogging brings on piriformis issues. Again, you might find with some, maybe it could be a strength issue that could be bringing that on. This should be addressed in the next few sessions when the strength and conditioning is on. And also just making sure it's well stretched out and warmed up beforehand. So the scoops. And Dr. Tim's asking, is the stretching routine you presented the one you use to sprint up the CN Tower in 13 minutes? There's someone like that, yeah, but there's maybe a few quicker movements as well, depending on how quick you're looking to move. This is just a nice slow type of warm up for the type of runs we're doing, which is kind of a moderate pace, nothing too quick. If you are doing anything quicker, then you are going to be obviously practicing those quicker movements. Do you recommend stretching both prior to and after running? How long do you suggest for each? So Sarah, for before running, we went through just a bit more dynamic stretching. So it's more targeted movements which warm up the areas before the run compared to static stretching, which we did more for the cool down. So we targeted we had some videos for the warm up and cool down as a sample routine. It's probably only like a few minutes for each one. This video, if you missed the first part of it, you can actually review the video. It will be up online soon. How do you feel about jogging after eating? Is there evidence that we burn more calories faster? This is probably more the question for the nutritionist or dietitian, but you generally should leave more time in between after eating in terms of allow things to definitely to digest. But this should be covered more in the next few weeks. Any other questions there? So next week we'll have Leslie, who's going to be talking about monitoring your heart rate. So she's an exercise physiologist, so she should definitely have some very good good tips for you as well.